Good morning and welcome to the NBA Daily for June 20th, 2025. I'm Dave DuFour here with Es Baraheni. Coming up, we're getting a Game 7. The Pacers blew out the Thunder in Game 6 in Indy. We've got Shakeia Taylor on the ground in Indy to talk about it. Good morning, everybody, especially the Indiana Pacers forcing a Game 7. Game 7,
the basketball world. The basketball world, honestly, you know,
we're lucky.
Oh my God.
This is the finals that just keeps on giving. Not the greatest game if you're a Thunder fan, especially. And I mean, it was a blowout. Look, it was a 30-point game heading into the fourth quarter. And that was then we got into garbage time. Everything went the Pacers' way. You couldn't have drawn it up better. And I think we start with Tyrese Haliburton, who was questionable to even play. We got reporting during the day that he would have missed multiple weeks, maybe. If this was the regular season, he looked amazing.
Looked pretty good for that.
I wish that my calf tear had worked the same way. Like, I mean, what kind of treatment were they doing to this guy?
You know what? I will say, and a friend of mine actually texted me this, which I thought was intriguing. Halliburton doesn't necessarily need to like explode off that calf often, you know?
Okay, that's easy to say until you have a sore calf. I mean, it's hard to do a lot of stuff, but I mean, he looked great from the jump. Apparently he looked good in warmups. We had heard. And so, I mean, he looked amazing in the game, was able to impact the game early. He was super aggressive to start. I mean, the Pacers, this was actually their game plan, I felt, was to be aggressive, try to put the Thunder into this math problem by shooting a ton of threes. They hit enough early that it really worked out. I actually think the first quarter, they probably should have had a bigger lead than they did. They were only up 3 going into that second quarter, but man, everything was going right for them.
Well, honestly, they were only up 3 because they started the game 0 for 8. And me and you texted back and forth and we're like, Indy's kind of getting good shots. Like, these are good looks. They're going to fall. And eventually they started to drop. You talk about the pressure that Indy was applying defensively. I think that's what dictated this game for them. 21 turnovers for OKC. That is the second time in 104 games for them that they have turned the ball over 20 or more times. That's just nuts. In the sense that Indy, ball pressure, Nembhard, TJ McConnell, even Haliburton, Pascal Siakam was incredible tonight on J-Dub. Those guys were forcing tons of turnovers. Indy got out and running. And the math battle, like, Indiana ended up shooting 18 more shots. They made 7 more threes. The turnovers were obviously part of the equation there. They dominated the math battle. It wasn't even close.
Yeah, and a few of those threes from the Thunder, again, were in garbage time. I mean, this game was the competitive portion was not close at all. You mentioned Pascal Siakam. This guy continues to just do everything for the Pacers.
My goodness.
16, had 5 offensive rebounds, 13
total.
Can we
talk about the possessed thing for a second here? That was incredible to start the game. The pregame warmups. Right? You look at them and Pascal has the Undertaker eyes rolling in the back of his head type of thing. You're like, oh man, he is ready, locked and loaded for this Game 6. They needed him. They needed exactly the type of player that he
punched this win through, in my opinion, with his finishing sequence to the first half. You know, he has that huge dunk off the Haliburton steal, which was also an incredible play by Haliburton in the open court to keep the ball in bounds, keep himself in bounds, and throw the pass and still think to do the look away after he makes the pass, which I just appreciate quite a bit. Pascal has this huge dunk there, and then he hits the buzzer beater fadeaway heading into the halftime. That I think that ended the game, right? Yeah. His dunk and then that shot ended the game, but his defense the entire series has been excellent. His offense obviously has been extremely consistent, and I loved that when the Pacers couldn't find offense, they got him the ball early. In a post up, they were looking to cross match, especially when Grayson Wallace was out there. They were looking to go at him, both with Siakam and Turner. This is a little bit of a change for them, but obviously, like, they were just clicking on all cylinders from the jump.
Yeah, they were clicking on all cylinders. And the credit you bring up to Pascal Siakam, I thought early in that first quarter, Jalen Williams was getting downhill very easily. The drives were there as they have been in game 4 and game 5. And guess what happened? Siakam switched on to Jalen Williams, and that driving angle was no longer there. The getting downhill consistently was no longer there. We talked about paint touches and how important those are throughout these series. I mean, TJ McConnell was getting to the paint at will. Andrew Nembhard was getting to the paint at will. Pascal, through the probing way that he gets into the post, got paint touches. And Indiana was able to churn their offense that way, generate tons of threes, win that math battle. And a lot of it does have to do with Pascal Siakam locking up on the defensive end. I've mentioned this stat a million times on social media, but it's worth noting. The Pacers in the regular season were 11 points better on defense when Pascal Siakam was on the floor. That ranked in the 99th percentile in the entire NBA. The impact from a team last season that conceded 150 points 4 times in the regular season to what they are now, which is a top 10 defense pushing a 68-win team to the brink. That is, in my opinion, what Pascal Siakam has impacted.
Yeah. I mean, listen, we'll save this for the summer, but the most underrated conversation, I think Pascal Siakam is probably pretty high up there. Although after this series, I think people are starting to realize it. The Pacers bench, again, amazing. You get 20 points out of Obi Toppin, and you get 12 out of TJ McConnell with 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 steals.
Yeah,
TJ McConnell. There's a world where TJ McConnell gets like a Finals MVP vote.
He really might do it, Dave. It's incredible. Oh man, I will say.
By the way, Tyrese Haliburton called him the Great White Hope. That's what the Pacers call him.
So you're going to go ahead and call him?
I'm going to go ahead and do it. I mean, listen, it's funny to see it because if you think about his role coming off the bench, it's kind of what he kind of is that, right?
Yeah,
come on.
Yeah.
Make something happen. Go out there and do it. And he does it every single time. You know, he got another one of his backcourt steals in this game, and it turns into a Haliburton 3. I mean, it's just, you just cannot be lazy for a second.
Yeah,
when TJ McConnell's on the court.
I'm gonna give you credit here because we potted for 2 days in a row, and we talked about, hey, does TJ McConnell have it in him to step up when Haliburton is not ready? And you said, you know, they kind of need him in spurts.
Right.
And he gave them those spurts. He only played 24 minutes, but he was plus 10 in those minutes. And he was a firecracker through 8 minutes of that game where he stepped in and just took over, right? I believe after like 9 minutes, he was in there for 9 minutes. He had 8 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals. That's the type of stuff that TJ McConnell does. And I'm left here like Jesse Pinkman in Breaking Bad saying, how does he keep getting away with this? Because I just don't understand. It would drive me mad if I was a Thunder fan, seeing him constantly get paint touches, constantly get into the basket, like near the rim, and get those little mid-range jump shots that he's been able to get off. It's incredible to watch. It genuinely is like,
I wonder, like, you know, you play against a lefty, right? And it throws you off. I wonder if there's a little bit of the herky jerkiness to his game, and it throws these guys off, and he is smaller, and he does kind of have to find different ways. I mean, Chris Paul did some unique things too that I think made him pretty hard to guard just from being small, but it's got to feel bad when you're getting bullied by the smallest guy on the court. I mean, and he did that. You just
compared TJ McConnell to Chris Paul. I'm just saying. I'm just putting.
Well, I mean, listen, small guards. You know, there's not that many of them for a reason, right? Like, there's got to be some craft and some kind of trick, you know, to be successful. And for him, a lot of it is that energy. You know, it's coming out, going full blast. You know, running full sprints every single time, looking for steals in the backcourt. But when he doesn't get them, he always gets back. You know, he's never getting. His man is never blowing past him in transition. Actually, matter of fact, I thought he did a really good job when he was guarding Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in this game of just putting a body on him all the time, forcing him into tougher looks, you know, even staying attached like on the backside and making Shai kind of keep him in jail, which bothered a lot of Shai's shots. I mean, I guess this is as good as time as any to talk about what went wrong for the Thunder. Yeah, the biggest one, you mentioned it, it's all the turnovers. It's not like them. They're used to winning the points off turnover battle, and you know, for them to just outright lose the possession battle is also pretty rare. I mean, obviously this is stuff that they can clean up, in the next game. This is not some sort of structural flaw that the Pacers have found, but it is, I think, a little bit distressing to see them blow this game where it felt like they had so much momentum and they had a chance to close this out.
OKC's offense felt a little predictable in this game, whereas on Indiana's side, they're coming from basically everywhere, and you don't know. There's so much unpredictability to what they do. Rick Carlisle has talked about like random basketball, and they are heightened random basketball. Whereas OKC is like, okay, we know they're trying to get a high post isolation for SGA. We know they're trying to get Jalen Williams downhill with a guard screening for him. It's basically at this point in the series, you're 7 games in, you know exactly what OKC wants to do. And I think Indiana did an incredible job of like doubling down on what OKC needs from their offensive players. You look at the turnover battle. Jalen Williams had 3 turnovers. I'm looking at SGA though. 8 turnovers in this game. And look, he's the MVP, but he is not void of criticism. This was a bad game from him in terms of turning the ball over. Indiana did a great job of trapping him whenever he caught it in that post area, and he just wasn't able to make any plays out of it. Like
they were jumping those passing lanes big time. I mean,
incredible. And Nembhard was awesome in that too, in terms of like just closing the gap on that. The other question there is like, cool, is it on them to do that, or is it the shot making from the rest of the group, because they didn't get anything from anybody else?
Right.
I mean,
well, part of this though,
right?
I would say this, part of this is, early on in this game, Shea and J-Dub, you see them attacking the basket. They're driving to the basket. They're making good things happen, especially Jalen Williams early on in the game. It looked just like game 4 for him. Hot knife through butter. He was able to get there, especially rejecting screens. So going away from the screen and driving, the Pacers were having a hard time catching up. The difference is in the two offenses, OKC generated no looks from 3 that were any good. No corner threes generated through most of the game. I don't know
a lot of quality.
Any in the garbage time happened because, who cares about that? But they don't generate any of these easy looks for these role players. They're winding up with some grenades. I mean, we all know at this point what a Lou Dort moon ball looks like. And we see a few of those, late shot clock especially. And if Chet's not going to stretch the floor and not going to be aggressive, again, I mean, he takes 3 threes. He's 2 of 9 from the field. I mean, this is a rough game for him. If they're not going to get that sort of production out of their third best player, they're going to have a tough time regardless, because now all of a sudden the defense only has to worry about 2 guys. I mean, I was actually surprised the Pacers didn't zone up early and force the rest of the Thunder actually start making shots. I mean, I think that maybe for game 7, that's something that the Pacers now have in their back pocket because they didn't pull out that zone.
I don't know about that, to be honest with you, because at home, OKC has been a very different team.
Yeah.
At home in the finals, they've made 39 threes. On the road in the finals, they've made 21 threes. That is a huge difference. And they obviously had that one game where they only knocked down 3 threes. But like that is a huge difference in terms of the role players knocking down their shots, the Carusos, the Aaron Wiggins of the world, the Cason Wallaces of the world. Right. Those guys being timely with their 3-point shooting was such a massive swing in game 5 that I think kind of went under. It wasn't noticed as much as the J-Dub game or the SGA game.
Right.
OKC's role players probably will play better in game 7.
Yeah.
That's the assumption you have to make. Yes.
This is their worst game, maybe of the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, Alex Caruso, minus 33 in his minutes, 0 for 2 from the field. So not the aggressive Alex Caruso even that we've seen in the series, who's really been a key player for them. Part of this has been that the OKC bench and the Pacers bench, like this trade-off. They started him in the
second half, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, there's stuff to watch. I mean, again, I think we have to like consider how off we were about the Pacers going into game 6. If you had told me that Tyrese Haliburton was going to look this good in game 6, I would not have written them off the way that I did. But after watching him in game 5, especially in that second half, where listless is what I would call him, obviously he was hurt, but just ineffective completely. I'm astounded by the way he looked in game 6.
Yeah, well, especially with the reporting that we had before the game of he might miss, like if this was the regular season, he's missing multiple weeks and he's going to give it a go. And, he said he would hate himself if he wasn't able to play in this game. Like all of that made you think this was probably going to be a bad Haliburton game, but he made clutch shots. He was moving the ball in transition. He actually looked pretty good when he was running with the ball.
Made defensive plays. I mean, he did everything. He had an incredible game. I mean, just incredible game. So I think we have to follow Zena's lead
let's apologize to the Indiana Pacers.
Because
look, we both said OKC in 6. We are officially wrong. This is an all-time series. This is an all-time playoff run. And by the way, as basketball fans, we deserve a game 7 in the NBA Finals because this postseason has been incredible. The playoffs, the timely moments, the clutch shots from the Pacers and Haliburton doing his thing, all of that is amounting to this right here, which is a win and you win a championship type of game. That's exactly what we need from the sport. Do you want some game 7 final stats? Do you want any of that stuff?
I actually would love to hear some. Number one is the first game 7 since 2016 when the Cavs came back from 3-1 against the 73-win Warriors.
Yep.
It's been a long time.
So this will be the 20th game 7 in the NBA Finals. Home teams are 15-4 in the game 7s of finals. The only 4 teams that lost or won on the road: the 1969 Lakers to the Celtics, the 74 Bucks to the Celtics, the 78 Sonics to the Bullets, and then obviously in 2016 the Warriors to the Cavs. So,
once in my lifetime. As a home team lost a game 7. Man.
So, I mean, do you,
I think I got to make us, we have to pick.
We do have to pick. Yeah. So how do you feel?
Man, prisoner of the moment. That's how I feel, honestly. Mm-hmm. And I've felt like this entire series. Number one, it's a closer series than we would have expected a couple months ago. Yeah. And with every swing in this series, I feel like the team that has the momentum can win it. Mm-hmm. It's been a lot of fun to watch. Again, I'm going. My brain says Oklahoma City doesn't lose 2 in a row. They don't really lose at home. All the other historical numbers back this up. They should win. Man, doesn't it kind of feel like
they are destined?
The Pacers are the team of destiny. Pacers. Look, I think the Pacers might do it.
At this point, you have to throw out any. Actually, I feel like calling them the team of destiny somehow discredits how incredible they've been. Really also, good. They have been such a great basketball team, and there's a reason that they're making all of these comebacks and winning these games. They spit in the face of the win probability gods. They are just like, we don't care if you say we have a 0.03% chance of winning this game.
We're getting a Haliburton game winner.
We're getting a Haliburton game winner. So, my brain does tell me OKC 68 win team, best defense I've ever seen in my lifetime. They should win this game. But then my brain is also telling me the Pacers are the team of destiny, and we just saw them defy odds. They multiple keep times
winning the ones that they're not supposed to.
Yeah. So
and they're
why
not supposed to win the game 7. I'm going with the Pacers.
Wow.
I'm going with the Pacers.
I like the pick. I think my thing is this is exactly the same script as the Thunder Nuggets series.
Exactly.
Almost to the type of games that we've gotten in each game. So I think it'll be the same in game 7. I think OKC will have that growing up moment, especially in that crowd in Oklahoma. We've both heard how loud that is. I think that'll be the difference maker. I'm going to stick with OKC.
All right. Well, guys, stick around after the break. We have Shakeia Taylor for more on the Pacers' improbable Game 6 win. Joining us from Indianapolis and heading back to Oklahoma City, the Athletics' Shakeia Taylor, who's been covering the Indiana Pacers for us for the last couple of months. Shakeia, I feel like you're either cursed or you're a good luck charm for the Indiana Pacers because they blessed. Just will not lose with you around. The big story coming into this game, like we didn't even know if Tyrese Haliburton was going to be able to play with that strained calf. You watched him practice a couple days ago. You watched him in shoot around. Did you think he was going to look this good in this game?
I don't know that I thought he was going to look this good, but I knew he was going to play. I had no doubt in my mind that Tyrese Haliburton was going to step on that court. Mm-hmm. I think if he doesn't, the morale of his team looks completely different. And I'm pretty positive he knew that. This is a guy who said, right, as long as I can walk, I'm going to play. He is the teammate of a guy who said, I would die for this, Aaron Nesmith.
Yeah.
So I think just based on that sort of team culture, there was no question for me that he was going to play.
I mean, he played a bunch injured last year, right? Like, I mean, we probably even hammered him a little bit because he looked diminished at times when he had that hamstring, and that led to a back thing. I mean, the guy has been a gamer.
Yeah, he has been. I can't help but that kind of persona, that energy that this Pacers team brings. You know who I can't help but think of? TJ McConnell. Because the way that he just brings that energy on the court, and, you know, I imagine it's very, very much so like that in the locker room too. Have to ask you about TJ being a leader for that team and just what you've seen while covering this Pacers team from TJ McConnell.
What I think about when we talk about TJ is the energy changes in Gamebridge every time he steps on the court. He gets on the court, he slaps it with two hands. That's his routine. And the crowd goes nuts. You would think that TJ McConnell was a starter. The way the energy in Gamebridge just sort of like increases to, I don't know, the moon almost. Like, they were on their feet. They chant his name. Like, when have you seen a guy come off the bench to TJ? Like, he is
it's incredible.
Plug.
Yeah.
He's a spark plug. He's a real motor for the team. You know, I think like his presence gets people going. They also really believe in TJ, right? TJ has been on this team for a while. He's been with Miles Turner for a good bit of time. And I don't know, like, I feel like if I were on a team, I'd want a guy like TJ to ride for me too, because TJ's going to dive all over the court. He's going to get on the biggest player on the other team. He doesn't care. He's pesky. And I say that constantly, but I mean it in the best way possible.
Yeah. We've kind of went through all the superlatives for TJ the other day, but Tyrese Haliburton hit us with his nickname. Apparently they call him the Great White Hope. And it's funny because it also fits his role, right? Like, when he comes off the bench, I mean, there's a lot of energy behind that. There's a lot of hope probably that he's going to go out there and do something. I know, like, coming into the series, I had no expectations that he was going to be able to contribute in the way that he has. And the guy just continues to turn up. The guy who stood out to me and who's stood out to me this entire series, Pascal Siakam. But before the game, you know, S has got this great video of him channeling the Undertaker, you know, as they're trying to come back in this series.
Shakeia, why did nobody ask him post game about the eyes? I haven't seen a quote yet.
So the thing with the eyes is he does it all the time. I think it was only new to people who just, you know what I mean, just started tuning in. But he does it all the time. I was actually sitting next to one of the Pacers team photographers for the first part of the game, and he pointed it out. He's like, people are going nuts about this, but he does this all the time. It's what it is they caught him at a moment where he was rolling his eyes back. And
I don't know, man. It was like 5 seconds. Like that was a very long eye roll.
He apparently does it, you know, during like, you know, the pregame situation on the court, and they just caught him. They just caught him on camera.
Wow.
I saw a few tweets, you know, where they were saying he did a sacrifice. So that
at the end of the first half, right? Like, that's kind of what he at least baptized the Thunder with that dunk and that turnaround, right? Like the turnaround buzzer beater. So definitely there was something spiritual happening on the court. I mean, they keep saying everywhere else it's just basketball, right? Like, but Apparently in Indiana, there's some other stuff.
It's a spiritual experience.
Yeah. So let's talk about belief then. Because I want to know, Shakeia, like, did you believe that they were going to win Game 6? If Tyrese was going to play, did you feel like they were going to win? Because we did not.
There was really
no.
So, we thought the series was over. He looked so
bad in Game 5. Second half of Game 5, he looked so rough.
What I've come to expect from the Pacers is you can't expect anything other than the unexpected, right? Like, this is a team that they never quit. They never quit no matter what. You know, they lost back-to-back games for the first time since March. I had no question they were going to at least come out and try, right? I didn't know how hard they were going to try. I didn't know they were going to try, you know, putting them in the ground 30 points pretty early, but like they came out and they showed why you cannot count them out. Like, I've called them the cardiac kids. I've talked about how, like, you know, the performers, their like cheer squad is called the Pacemates. Maybe the Pacers are the Pacemates, right? Like, because
I need a pacemaker when I'm watching their games most of the time, right? Yeah.
Yeah, like, this is, they just don't quit. I jokingly, and I'm going to age myself here, I refer to them as Bebe's kids. I don't know if you all remember that at all, but there was like a, you know, we don't die, we multiply.
Oh, right. Yeah, okay, I got you.
Yeah, so that's the Pacers in a nutshell. They are going to come back. They are going to fight hard. They just won't go away. They won't go away. You cannot turn your back on them. It's like this. I've been with this team since March. Whenever I call myself getting a head start on my story, the Pacers do something where I have to delete 500 words. So I've gotten in the habit of just not.
Yeah.
Just not. You got to just ride
the
wave.
For the ride.
All right. Well, look, we had to eat our words today because we both said OKC in 6. How do you feel about Game 7? And also, a side note here, you've seen an OKC crowd and how loud it gets. You've obviously seen an Indiana crowd and how loud it gets. Which one is louder?
Definitely OKC.
Wow. Okay.
Definitely OKC. Okay. Now, that's no disrespect to the Gamebridge crowd, because the Gamebridge crowd, they have been bringing it. They were on their feet all night tonight. Yeah. Right? They were chanting. They were doing their thing. They knew what their role was in motivating their guys to win, right? And Indiana is a very prideful state about basketball, and I think the fans, just as much as the players, were like, "You're not going to celebrate on our court," right?
Yeah.
But OKC, they got a little something extra. And I don't know if it's those little things that they have in their hands during the games where they're smacking them on their hands. I think that, and I think it's there's just a different kind of energy. I think the shape of the arena even contributes to the way the sound sort of carries. Yep. Like, Gamebridge is big and airy, right? And Paycom, I get the Paycom, Paycor. Paycom has like a more of a, where the sound just kind of envelops you. It just kind of surrounds you. Yeah. I talked about how in OKC, I could feel the sound like kind of vibrating in my body, and you have to learn to tune it out. At Gamebridge, it's a little more airy. So like, it's loud, but it doesn't rock you. It doesn't make me feel like I can't focus, and I can still hear the whistle.
Yeah. OKC, I felt it thumping in my chest. Okay, before we go, Game 7, I need a pick from you. Shakeia, are you going to be covering a parade in Indianapolis next week, or is OKC going to do this thing?
Well, I can tell you I will be wearing my moisture wicking apparel on Sunday night. So
there we go.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right.
So you in the locker room.
Exactly.
All right. Get some goggles. Okay. Like, your you've got the glasses that are big, that'll cover up some, but you need the goggles. You don't want it to. I
feel like you're kind of making me look kind of nerdy with you doing your hands like this.
You are making the glasses way too big.
These are very nice glasses. I'm sure, like, you should see mine. They look like someone gave them to me for free. Anyway, thank you, Shakeia, for hanging out. That's going to do it for the show. Thank you to Shakeia Taylor. Guys, go and read her over at The Athletic. She's been doing a great job covering the Pacers. The story that you just wrote about Miles Turner, and I mean, this guy has been there forever. It was a really great story about what he means to Indianapolis. I enjoyed that quite a bit. For Es Baraheni, I'm Dave DuFour, and this has been the NBA Daily. Thanks for waking up with us.